Let's talk about you and me. Let's talk community. Let's talk about all the good things and the bad things that may be. Let's talk about us. Let's talk about us. Let's talk about us. Let's talk.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Let's Talk About It with me and you. Today, I have a special guest, Delicia Davis, who is an author, and she writes many books about children and relationships. And welcome, Delicia, to Let's Talk About It. And so let's talk about life. Let's talk about men. Let's talk about sex. Let's talk about whatever you want to talk about today.
Whatever you want. I'm here for it. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. So what's one of the things that I've spoken to you. We haven't worked together in over a year.
Yeah.
And a lot of things has happened.
Yes.
So let's talk about first thing, what's going on with Deluxe Library. And I know we have merged together. So let's talk about what you have put in place.
Yes, so the Lux Library has a new location as of 2025. We now are located in Belrose, Queens. So I'm really excited about that. We're in partnership with a wonderful juice bar. So now you can get food and drinks as well as books and beverages, book clubs, and all that stuff in between. But one thing that we're really focused on this year is really helping authors really get their book brands off the ground. I found that over the past 5 years that the Lux Library has been around, that has been one of the greatest needs that I'm recognizing in the literary community. From everything from educators to entrepreneurs, they're asking me questions about how to get their books done.
Because everybody now wants to write a book.
Right.
And talk
right.
about their issues and their stuff. I mean, it took years. I remember the first person that came to me about a book was maybe about 25 years ago. He told me that he wrote a book, and I said, "You wrote a book? What do you have to talk about?"
They always want us to. We just want to be quiet and write.
Yeah. So I noticed, like in the past 25 years, a lot of people are coming out now with their book.
Yeah.
And they want to tell their story.
Yeah, and when I did the research, 1.5 million Americans are self-published authors, and most of them are publishing their books by themselves. They don't have any backing. They have no support, no guidance. They don't know how to distribute them. They don't know how to brand or promote them. And I've done really well doing that at the Lux Library, not just for myself, but some of my clients. So I decided to really kind of hone in on what authors need. And not only are we hosting a book writing boot camp on the first weekend of every month, which our first one is on April 4th, so come through, sign up at theluxlibrary.co. But we also opened up a community for authors, so we have an authors club.
Oh, that's wonderful, because I know I was going to speak to you about that later. Personally, that I wanted to start writing my book.
It's time.
Yes, time.
It's time.
But that's very important. Now, tell me also, you're a designer, clothing designer?
Yes.
And tell me about that. What is that? How does that come into play?
Yeah, so honestly, right after I created the Lux Library a few years ago, back in 2020, I quickly also came up with a merch line. So Luxy Loungewear has actually been in development for about 5 years. It's a feminine loungewear brand.
Sexy?
Yes,
that you can just
you
wear
got it.
But it's still, you can open the door in case somebody comes in.
Exactly.
That
Girl,
sounds
you
good.
got it. You got it. You got it. So that's exactly what it is. It's like very comfortable wear dresses. And I call it a feminine loungewear, like feminine, because I know loungewear is usually known as like, stretch pants or sweatpants. But for me, being the woman that I am, I really just want to feel sexy. I want to feel good. I want to feel comfort at all times. I wanted to create a piece, something that we don't have, where women can feel that way all the time, whether they're inside the office, whether they're on the streets, whether they're in their homes. And this is the product. This is the solution to our problems. And I feel like women, it's time for us to live a softer life.
All right. Well, I agree with that to a certain degree, but I also, it's not just for young women, it's for older women as well.
Oh, yes.
And I know I like when I'm at home to feel relaxed, but still be able to open the door if the bell
Exactly.
rings and
Thank
not be like, oh my God, I got on something so sexy.
Yes.
That is,
I can't show.
no,
Yeah.
yeah. So I feel great now wearing a lot of sweats.
See?
Yeah, I wear a lot of sweats in the house.
Yeah.
I'm older now, so I'm not going out like I used to, and I want to feel comfortable.
Well, then Luxy Loungewear is for you because this is the type of thing you could be lounging around in your house, and then if you had to make a run to the store, you could still wear it out there, you know? And like even when I wear it, because I've been wearing some of my pieces, like I have a few samples. I mean, I feel so good even cleaning in it, washing dishes. I still feel like a woman, you know?
Okay.
I don't feel like I'm some struggling, cleaner in my house. I feel like a woman. I feel feminine. I feel fun. And I also feel sexy. And I think we need more of that.
Okay, I like that. Now let's talk about the juicy stuff.
Yeah.
I hear you went viral the other day. What is that all about?
Oh, my goodness.
Tell me about that.
Yeah, so I pretty much, so it actually originated from a book club session that we had a couple weeks ago. We were reading Waiting to Exhale, and we were discussing the fact that, the biggest problem that all the women had and shared was men. So we actually wrote a collaborative love letter to men, single men really, and we just were asking a question like, what's going on? Why are we going through so much struggle, like finding, viable relationships and love and marriage and, keeping our families together, especially in the Black community. So we wrote this letter and I was the one bold and courageous enough to read it. I posted it to my TikTok page, I believe maybe Wednesday or so, Thursday. And within 24 hours, it had over 15,000 views.
Oh, congratulations. That's wonderful. I guess they didn't hear my story yet, but I'm willing to tell it at any time.
Please do. So, well, let me talk about what the response was, and then you're going to tell me how you fit in. Because,
okay, really?
Yeah, because so what happened is, like, it was a genuine question that I was asking. I was raised in a two-parent household. My parents have been married for 43 years. And, I've always wanted what they had. I married very young. I married like just out of college. I met my husband, had my kids by 25, and was divorced by 30. And because my husband, he was unfaithful. So, I entered the dating world as an adult, like around 30, and I was just very shocked about what I got.
Really?
Yes, I was like really traumatized because I'm like, oh my God, I've just been loving on my man for most of my life. I've been in relationships. I had one boyfriend in college, one boyfriend in high school, one man my whole 20s, my husband, and all of a sudden I enter the dating world and it's a pile of mess. Men don't want to be in relationships. Men don't want to get married. Men don't want to talk to you if you have kids. It was just, just a lot of hate came towards me. I had also had twins during my marriage. So yes, I have kids. So it was just like, what's happening? Like,
Okay.
all I want to do is love you.
All right. Well,
And I was getting hate.
My personal opinion on that is, if a man doesn't want you with kids, then I don't need you. Okay.
Right. Definitely we don't need those.
Because
Trash 'em.
that's going to be a problem. So you have to, I think, for a lot of women out here, find out who you are as a person, what you can accept in a relationship, and what you can't. I've always set my own rules to my own game. All right. And my game is, except you put a ring on it, and we are married. I do whatever the hell I want because I pay my own goddamn bills.
Well.
You won't have nothing to come up in my house and tell me who I'm seeing, what time I gotta be home, or nothing. If I want to, come home at 2:00 in the morning, I'm coming home at 2:00 in the morning. Well, now I'm an older woman. Of course, I'm in bed by 9. But when I was a young girl, I came and went as I pleased. And I can honestly say I had no problems because I set these rules. Okay? I dated who I wanted to. I made them understand, we're not in a committed relationship. We're in a relationship, but we're open. You can see whoever you want, and I'm going to see whoever I want. Now, of course, I will respect your space. You respect my space. And I live that way, and I didn't have problems. Matter of fact, like 90% of all my boyfriends that I had as a young woman, I still have them today as a friend. Oh, yes, and everybody knows each other.
Wow.
Oh, yeah, and I have no problem. I introduce them to each other and say, hey, yeah, I just love it, I said, well, I met you when I was 20 years old, and I was dating this one, and then I stopped with him, and I keep going on, and everybody knows each other, and they like each other because they basically have sort of similar personalities, and I found out that I got respect because I didn't do anything behind closed doors. I didn't tell you, oh, I love you. You're the only one for me. And, I'm not seeing anybody else. As long as you wasn't going to make that commitment, then you can't hold me to anything. And I did not need a man to take care of me. I took care of myself.
So I guess I would have to ask you, so how do you feel that impacts our kids, though? Because for me, it's like I feel like, I could go that way, but I feel like that contributes to almost like a breakdown of the family and I think mostly about my kids. Like maybe I can live that way, but I don't know if that's the best way for me to live in front of my kids.
Okay, now I'm going to answer that question. I wanted the husband, the house, and the white picket fence. I truly did. And I tried to get it for many, many years. But I realized there was a lot of men that did not live up to my expectations. All right? So I did not make that commitment because I had children. And I didn't want them to go through a changing, like a revolving door of husbands. Because I knew what I could take and what I could not take. So when you have children, you have to make up your mind. Am I going to live a life as a single mother and still enjoy my life? Or do I sit back and just, or do I put up with a man that doesn't respect me, cheats on me, doesn't pay the bills, I'm supporting you, and I got to be faithful to you?
Absolutely not.
I don't know what world that is. That's not a world that I lived in.
No.
And that's not a world I grew up in.
No.
And I have a daughter. I would never want her to live that type of life. But I know plenty of women today that tell me, I'm with my husband for 40 years. And I wanted that. I wanted to be able to say, oh, I'm with my husband for 40 years. But when they tell me that, they tell me, oh, he was unfaithful to me. I came home and caught him in bed with other women and all types of stuff. And I pay the bills. And I'm like, really? And you're still with this man? And he's still doing this to you? I'm saying, well, what happened to your self-esteem?
Right.
What happened to your self-value? Right. Now you have children. What have you showed your children? Is this the correct way that you allow a man to disrespect you in your home? You come home, there's another woman in your bed. Not once, but twice, but 3 times. The person doesn't pay any bills. You are out paying all the bills. Well, if I was out paying all the bills for a man, he better kiss my feet the moment I walk through the door, make sure my bath is ready and everything, able to rub me down. I have to go out and support you? Not happening.
No, definitely that is not that is not
I'm sorry.
the characteristics of a man or a husband that we need.
Yeah.
No, not at all.
Don't even come knock on my door.
No.
I'm going to tell you right now, if you're not a man that's going to make me feel special.
Absolutely.
Bring me some flowers. Do I have to ask you for flowers and tell you, oh, it's Mother's Day. I think you should give me some flowers. No. And I feel a lot of women today are accepting just nothing just to say they have a man. And I don't think that's correct.
No.
Because you of yourself as a woman are losing your respect for yourself when you allow a man to treat you any old way. We are a prize. Don't forget, women are the ones that bear children. We create life. Respect me. So that's my thing. That's the one.
Yeah, wow.
And if you're not going to do that, yes, I'm going to go out with other people. And then I'm going to let you know I'm going out with other people.
Yeah, I appreciate your honesty on this. My issue, in the dating pool that we have, I feel like because, women have been like independent a lot of the guys in the chat, I guess in the comments for the rival video, basically have been saying, "Oh, you guys wanted to be left alone. You guys want to be independent. You guys didn't want us. You guys said we were creeps for coming up to you." Like, this is the conversation that these men are having, and I was really shocked because that's not the world that I've lived in. I've always loved, having a male companion. Though I was raised to be independent, do for me, and have my own, I also saw how much stronger a family could be when they're engaged in a partnership.
I agree. I agree too. I think it's a very healthy thing if both sides
right.
are working together.
Right.
If we have a scale,
right.
and the scale is not balanced correctly, somebody's leaning this way, somebody. You should be this way.
Right.
And if I have to lean and I have to do all the work, then no, I'm sorry. And you want me to respect you as a man? No. So then let us just be friends.
Wow.
Call me. If I'm doing anything, I'll go out. If I'm not, well, whatever. I live my life I'm almost 70 years old in a few months. And I've lived my life like that since I've been 18 years old. I don't allow a man to disrespect me.
No, neither do I.
In any way.
In any way.
If anything, I disrespect them.
I think this is the problem that they're trying to tell me. They're like, women have no problem telling us what to do with ourselves.
Well, sometimes they deserve it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but sometimes I find, especially the young men of today, they take a lot of advantage. Like, I did not know that you can go on a date to the laundromat.
Who's doing that?
And smoke weed outside. And that's a date.
Wow, guys.
I have seen it with my own two eyes, and I am appalled.
Wow.
I'm appalled at the women that would allow themselves to sit outside of the laundromat
on a date. See?
And
but on the flip side, the guys are like, well, why aren't we accepting the Cheesecake Factory? Is that a date you wouldn't take?
I would love to go to the
That's
Cheese
what I'm
Factory.
talking about.
Take me to the Cheese Factory. Take me to Applebee's.
Right.
Let me go out and sit down with some silverware. But you want me to come in a hallway and stand up and this is a date? Oh, hell no.
No.
And so I look at them when I see this happening, I do see it. And I look at them and I just I shake my head on both sides. Not just for the women, but for the men. In the sense that this is how you feel that you treat a woman that you say you like or you love. This is the level. You don't feel like you should take her out, not even to Mickey D's.
But who's doing that? What kind of man is that?
Oh, there's plenty of them.
Yeah, I wouldn't be entertaining that at all.
There's plenty of men. I've seen them. I can put my hands on them. But I would not ever, as a woman, want to do that. And I wouldn't raise my son to be that type of person.
Yeah.
You take a young lady out to dinner, to the movies, to the theater.
Even a coffee date these days.
Even if you don't want to do something big. I found a guy the other day, and I didn't know him. But I saw him and he looks very nice and attractive. He was at our old place. He's an engineer. On Southern Boulevard for our old studio. And I saw him, I started talking to him, and he was telling me, he's doing the building over and so forth and so forth. And we exchanged phone numbers and he said, I would love to see you. I'd love to date you. I says, really? I says, but I wouldn't know if I would want to date you. I says, we can go to McDonald's on Hillside Avenue. McDonald's and talk. Because I didn't want to be alone with him, first of all. But McDonald's was good. You don't have to spend a whole lot of food. It's not about what you spend the money on. It's the conversation that you have with a person. You could have the best conversation with a person in McDonald's.
McDonald's wouldn't be a date for me, but I feel you. If you like McDonald's, cool.
But you see, you can go on the most expensive date, which I've been on so many.
But I don't think it has to be expensive. I just think it has to be a quality experience.
But see, it depends on you as a person. What you want at the time in your life. You understand? But I don't feel that there should be a quota. You know.
Yeah, I don't think so either. These men are telling me that women are like, you have to spend at least $500 to prove yourself. I'm like, what?
Oh, really? I don't know. See,
what kind of prostitution? But all right.
I mean, I've always like, look at me. Do I look like I gotta pay for you? I don't think so. I think it's the other way around. I'm sorry.
These men.
You know. So if that means that I'm a bitch, that I'm one of the biggest bitches out here, because I am going to let you know, hey, don't forget, baby, my birthday's coming up. I want my chain.
Oh yeah.
I want my ring. I want us to go out for dinner.
Wow.
Oh, and then because my boyfriend and myself right now, we have the same birthdays. We're Pisces.
Oh, yeah.
So I have to take him out, and he has to take me out.
Oh boy.
And it's fair. And we both exchange gifts together out of respect.
It's the same birthday.
Yeah, it's respect.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the type of relationship I think men and women should have. Respect. If you don't respect yourself, first of all, you can't respect other people. You know, and you learn a lot from your parents.
Yeah.
You know, what you see is what you relate to.
Well, depending on if it's a good or a bad experience. Yeah, because some of the things that some of the men are saying as well in the on the video was, oh, well, my mother was a narcissist, and my mother, I watched her cheat on my father, and like, you know, there's even some mom hurt. Yeah. That I feel like needs to be addressed as well.
There's a lot of mom hurt. There's a lot of mom hurt because of the changes over the years, wherein, you know, mothers stayed home. For look at the many years that mothers basically stayed home, or they worked from their house. Now there's hardly any women that do that except because of the pandemic. But besides that, people are out. There's doctors, there's nurses, there's lawyers, police. We have as women more power. Right. And we have more power to say, you know, I don't like your actions. I don't like your behavior. I don't have to deal with you. And men don't like that. They want you to have to ask them, you know, could you, I need money for this. I need money for that. Even though they know that they're supposed to support their children, they want you to beg them. They want you to get down on your hands and knees. And,
Wow. I've had some very different experiences around that. Yeah. You know, I've always been a hardworking bee. So, but I did, you know, when I had my kids and stuff, my husband, you know, he was providing 100% during that time because I was the stay-at-home mom for about at least a year. So, you know, I experienced being a stay-at-home mom. I experienced being a working mom. Even when he lost his job, we even traded roles. I was the working, I was the breadwinner. He would stay home for a little bit. So I've experienced things like that, and I never ever had an issue or about, you know, finances. I feel like everybody should just be pulling their weight. And I think that's one of the things I learned from my parents was just like, you know, we're in this together, especially if we plan to be in this for life. We work together to figure out how we're going to make this life happen, because it's so much easier. Two heads are better than one. Yeah. So, you know.
But you see, a lot of people do not plan.
That, yeah.
Do they not plan a life with a person? Right. You know, they meet you. In a few hours, you're in bed with the person, or wherever you're on the stairs, the elevator, whatever. I tell it like it is.
Just jump on it.
Let's do it, you know. And they don't know nothing about the person, man or woman. And so how are you going to expect expectations that if you wind up pregnant? You know, oh, I don't know you. I just met you.
Exactly. Yeah, I do feel like this hypersexual community or like a culture that we're in right now is really detrimental.
It's very detrimental.
Because people jump right into things and they get locked and soul tied before they really know who they're dealing with.
Exactly.
And that's part of the problem
and
too.
sometimes you can't get out of it, especially when you have children. You can never get out of it. Except they either go to jail or they die. Or I have to kill them. I don't know what I want to get out of it. But that would never have happened to me because I believe in taking taking time to know somebody as much as I can.
Right.
I'm not talking about months and months and years.
Just actually sitting down and having conversations. Yeah, and getting to know them as you go along and taking the appropriate steps and timelines to, go to the next level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember dating this really fine guy. Oh my God, he was. Oh, and he could sing. Oh Lord, have mercy, he could sing. And he used to come to my house. We had a relationship, and I would notice that around 1 o'clock in the morning, he would look at his watch, and he would say, I gotta go. I'm like, okay, and so it started to make me start thinking. And he did it like maybe 3 or 4 times. And then I noticed, I said, I bet this guy is married. Or he's living with somebody.
Yeah, he got somebody clocking him.
Yeah, exactly. So I started, I said to him one day, I says, I want to know something. Tell me the truth. Are you married? Are you living with somebody? Why is it that you always leave around a certain? You can never spend the night. And you got everything here. I'm gonna fix your breakfast and that. Well, there's something wrong. There, I can feel it. And he said, well, I'm living with somebody. I says, we've been seeing each other now for a few months, and now you're telling me because I confronted you.
Right. You see. Like I said, honesty is a huge factor. I feel like we need to go back to that, especially, and be as honest as possible at the beginning so people can make decisions about who they want and what they want to do.
But it's getting lesser and lesser.
Yeah.
So we have to come up with a different approach. And I believe men and women need to sit down and talk.
Yeah.
And we need to have respect for each other.
Right.
Because there are good relationships, and relationships can work, but you have to be able to be honest and trust somebody. So that's the first thing that I would say to anybody in a relationship: learn to know the person,
right,
and learn to know yourself.
Absolutely. I feel like that comes first before you even get in a relationship.
Yeah. Now, we talked about that type of relationship. Now I want to talk about on a business side. I know you go back to that you help people could write books and stuff like that. Well, how does that make you feel when you see a book come out and it's published and you had something to do with it? What's the feeling, Delicia?
It feels amazing. It's like I just gave birth to a baby, like I'm a surrogate or something. I love to help people create their books. But one thing that I'm going to really, really highlight in this new era that we are in with the Authors Club and the Book Writing Bootcamp is that writing a book is not just about a product, it's about building a brand. And I want people to understand that you have to look at it like it's a business and a brand and more than just a product. And you have to know your audience, resonate with your audience, and make sure that you're offering something that's going to change their lives.
Okay. That's very important. But, there's some people that just want to tell a story.
Right.
They just want to tell their story.
Yeah, so the reason why some people's books don't sell is because, yes, you want to tell your story. The process of writing it is to be a healing process for you. But once you start to put it to sales, when you bring it to the market, it now becomes about your readers.
Okay.
And that's the big shift that I think a lot of authors have to make. They have to take the emotional attachment off of themselves and put it towards their audience or their purchasers.
Okay. That's good. So what else is going on with the Deluxe Library and everything? Tell me about the books and the kids.
Yeah,
how they're doing.
The kids are amazing. They are actually more so behind the scenes. This past year, they became teenagers. The boys, my sons, Avery and Avion, they are now doing the content. So a lot of the videos and the posts and the flyers that you guys are seeing being rolled out are being done by Avery and Avion. Another thing that's new is that we collaborated with our World Media Network.
Yes, it is that we have collaborated audience. When I met you like 5 years ago, I realized you was a very dynamic young lady.
Thank you.
And I loved what you were doing.
Thank you.
And I have to say you felt the same way about me.
Yes.
Yes. So, audience, we have collaborated and you're going to see Delicia quite often, I hope, hosting shows and everything with me and also by herself doing her own thing.
Yes.
And So I don't want you to forget to always listen to Let's Talk About It
Yes,
with
on
me and you.
yes.
And we can be heard on Roku.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we have a new channel. So what our World Media Network is now Lux World Media, and we're so proud to introduce it. And we are going to be doing a whole lot of content and a whole lot of launching on April 1st, 2025. And we're excited to share with you guys all that Lux World Media has to offer. We have children's programming. We have Let's Talk About It by Lady Pauline and the crew. And I also have a docuseries, Live in Lux, and so much more to come.
And I also have a new show that's going to be starting for April in the afternoon called Love in the Afternoon with Pauline, Lady Pauline. And we're going to be playing some of the oldies, and we're going to talk about sex and love in the afternoon. And you don't have to wait for evening to have romance. So that's one of the big things I wanted to put out there, that we're going to be.
You don't have to wait till the evening. Ooh, then we're going to throw Luxie on. We're going to throw your Luxie dress on.
Exactly. So I hope everybody enjoyed the show. And Delicia, I'm glad to be working with you, and I'm so happy to see you.
You
And
too.
welcome to Let's Talk About It with me and you.
Yes.
We're out.